Hi everyone, thanks for watching this video with me today. My name's David, I'm a life coach and I try to help people heal from different kinds of trauma. Mostly emotional trauma, and that's what this video focuses on today. I just made a video about the generational cycle of abuse, and so that kind of sets up this video. Before I start, if you guys could, please subscribe to my channel, share it with others, hit the notification bell so you know when more are coming out. Try to vote if you can, let me know why down below, ask questions, share. I'd appreciate all your support, thank you very much. So today's video is about narcissistic cycle of trauma. The abuse cycle is a social cycle theory. This is a term coined by Lenore Walker in the 1970s, I believe 1979. The events and stages of society and history generally repeat themselves in cycles. That's the social cycle theory. And I think that applies to this, all kinds of abuse. You know, we have physical and financial and emotional and mental. And I think this kind of applies to a lot of this, most of it. So the three major phases, and you'll hear there may be more phases and stuff like this. The three major phases, first one, tension building. And so in relationships, you know, we always talk about the beginning of narcissistic relationships with a narcissist. And typically, not always, as some of you say, well, mine wasn't like this, but typically it starts out pretty good. There's no problems. We don't know each other yet, and that's very important. With a narcissist, they reject themselves and hate themselves, have lots of shame. They may be totally ashamed of who they are, don't want you to find out. And as relationships go, a lot of fears build. They may feel vulnerable. They may feel like you know who they are. In the beginning, it tends to be pretty good without these fears, without you knowing who they are. A fresh start. But as relationships continue, there are normal stressors, external stressors, and they could be work-related, health-related, could be fatigue. But in relationships is the major problem because people with personality disorders cannot have functioning relationships. And without functioning relationships, it causes stress. Okay, and these external stressors build up tension in the narcissist. They build until the next stage is explosion. This is when the tensions are released. The act of abuse. And it could be subtle. It could be huge, massive rage. It could be violent and beating you, throwing things, smashing things, hitting things. It could be, you know, a fight and then leave. This tension seems to be released by the abuser. And they may be so, like I said, even rage, they may not even realize what they did, what they said afterwards. Next stage afterwards, since this tension is released, becomes peace and calmness, typically, not always. This would be the stage they call the remorse or honeymoon. I'm going to leave that remorse out. But I think shame. I think shame of the explosion, shame of how they acted, and not so much remorse of how you feel. They don't understand that. But the honeymoon phase is the peace and calm that typically follows the explosion, the act of abuse. And we have to, this peace and calm can only follow after the act of abuse without an apology and reassurance of what happened again or ending the relationship. There must be explanation or justification, maybe between the two of you. Maybe they're explaining to you why they did it, justifying it, blaming you. Typically what the narcissist does, don't they? Completely acting like it didn't happen is typical, or not addressing it at all. And then you are left with justifying this. How are you going to justify being treated like this? How are you going to justify that your partner is a dishonest liar, that they're a cheater, that they hit you, that they called you all these bad names and said you're such a sick, nasty, ugly person, and then what? And then we all just act like it's all okay. Because the narcissist doesn't take accountability for what they've done, then they won't take responsibility for their share in the relationship to make it work. It's all up to you. And that term cognitive dissonance starts to kick in. We lie. We somehow to accept this, we have to lie. It's going to get better. They didn't mean it. They were just drunk. They were abused. I kind of messed up and kind of pushed them towards this, and I'm going to try to be more aware of that and not do it. We might even tell them that. They may not even have to say a single thing. Right, guys? I mean, we might do it for them, just like everything else we do for them. Even explain their abuse to us for them. Sick. And these phases will continue to escalate continue and continue and continue to escalate as long as we accept it in their mind. In their mind, we're accepting them. And so it continues to escalate and get worse and worse and worse, especially physical, right? Physical gets worse until someone gets very hurt, dies, or gets put in a hospital, or somehow goes to jail, gets split up. This becomes very hormonal, and I've talked about this a lot. I made a video earlier about the generational cycle of abuse, like I said, and this becomes very hormonal. Naturally, when there's stress or a danger, something like this that happens to us, naturally we have stress chemicals that help us fight or flight, end it or run. And then after that's over, after we've done that, we get more calming hormones that help us calm. I made a huge video about this a couple weeks ago. If you guys are interested about that, you can always look at my Healing CPTSD playlist. But this repeat trauma, the repeat stress, we didn't fight it, we didn't flight it, or it just keeps recurring over and over and over again, stops calming, and it's just stress chemicals. No more calming chemicals, no more calming hormones, no more feeling good anymore. It's just stress chemicals. And we become dependent on the relationship to calm us down. Whether that's what we're lying to ourselves about, whether some hope in future we're waiting for, or some half-ass explanation or justification they give us. This causes shame. This makes us feel like we don't deserve any better. And we begin to even keep this a secret and stop telling people, don't we, eventually? This is how the cycle constantly repeats itself. Up, tensions build, explode, and then it's good. The golden period is also called. When things are great. This is, the good times. You guys talk about good times. It's very difficult when I talk about with people, clients, and talk about their abuser. They always have something good to say in the beginning. They always, but they're also caring. I love them. There's good times, feel good times. Yeah, this cycle, this up and down cycle becomes addictive and becomes dependent, and we no longer can calm ourselves anymore, and we look to them. We look to the relationship to do this. And the problem with this, just like any addiction, drugs, is the highs aren't so highs anymore. You notice that, especially after maybe years of this? Breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, and getting back together. Breaking up used to be pretty bad, right? Really bad. And then getting back together was really good. You keep doing this over and over again, eventually the getting back together ain't so good. It's not like it used to be. It doesn't raise my feel-good hormones anymore. And the bad just gets worse and worse because all of this abuse escalates, gets worse. They believe every time you don't call them out on it, you must accept it. You must accept them. And every time this happens, it causes more shame and harder for us to leave. Harder for us to believe that we are worthy of something better and our lives are more important than this. And we can only stop this cycle by getting away from our abuser. And you guys know how much I hammer no contact. This is a sick, toxic, dangerous cycle with a very dangerous person who hurts us. And it does no good to stay in contact with them. None. I don't believe abusers change. I've never seen it. Never. I've seen it like a meth head who got clean for a couple months, few months, and they found God or something, and then they go right back to meth. And each time it gets worse and uglier and destroys people's lives more and more. I hope that makes sense, some of this cycles. I really try to get you guys to help you understand why this relationship happened. Try to make some sense out of your trauma to alleviate some of your shame so we don't keep repeating this. So we at least believe that we deserve and we are worthy of better. And we can't do that. We can't have better until we believe we are worthy of it. So I strongly suggest out of toxic, abusive relationships, take your time dating. Increase your self-awareness and recover from your past to alleviate shame and start learning what healthy relationships look like. I get asked this all the time. What's a healthy relationship look like? And so I think I'm going to start devoting more videos to that, helping you guys understand that, maybe giving you guys some hope. It's not that difficult. But relationships aren't easy. They aren't easy, right? So let me know what you guys think about this video, please. I'd appreciate it. And add your own experiences. Each one of your experiences are unique. None of them are exactly the same. None of them. And how we feel about them aren't the same, and how we recover aren't the same. So please share with us your experiences. I'd really appreciate that. I enjoy them. And love yourself first. Anybody who wants coaching, you can find me at daviddemars.com. Thank you. See you guys. Bye.